Welcome back, everyone. Today, we're going to be taking a look at a couple of drama-filled posts between couples. Make sure to like and subscribe, and let's get into it. This first post was made back in 2021. Now, to be clear, the post you guys will be seeing is a repost. The original one was deleted, but it was created by user KEBoy. The post is titled, "My sister, 17, is threatening to out me, 19 male, to our parents unless I break up with my boyfriend who is 21 because she's obsessed with him." Hello, I'll keep this as short as I can and include all relevant details. I am gay and have been dating my next door neighbor Evan for nearly 2 years. My little sister has always had a crush on him since we were kids, so when me and him would hang out together as kids, she'd insist on coming along. She'd cling to him like a bad rash and would boast about him to all her friends. Me and him started dating not long after I turned 18, and we kept our relationship to ourselves because my dad, who was raised in an Egyptian household, is quite homophobic, and my strict Korean mother always forbid dating. Plus, if she found out I was dating a guy, she'd have a stroke. She's also kind of a Karen, she'd be disappointed I'm dating a white boy. Anyway, we kept our relationship between us this whole time, apart from his family, who are very supportive of us. My family thought we were just good friends and thought nothing of us having sleepovers, but whenever we'd go see a movie, smoke a joint, or hang out in general, my sister would be trying to cozy up to him. Multiple times, she begged me to ask him to take her on a date, and I'd shut her down, not just because he was my boyfriend, but because she was also being a creep and she was still a minor. She stole his phone number from my phone and harassed him so many times that he blocked her. My parents don't see the problem as they think it's an innocent crush that she'll get over, even though it's been years. The day before yesterday, whilst I was at his house all alone, we started doing what young couples do, and suddenly we heard this squeal come from outside his window. We looked to see my sister standing outside his window. His bedroom was moved downstairs after he broke his leg in a biking accident, so he didn't need to move around as much. My boyfriend started yelling and cursing at her, but she just had tears streaming down her face. Then she started saying homophobic slurs at us and saying how much she hates me for stealing her true love. She was just being a brat, which she always has been, as my folks have spoiled her all her life. She ran home sobbing and I got dressed and chased after her, but she had locked herself in her room. For the next day or so, I kept trying to talk to her, but she would just be unresponsive, so I kept an eye on her in case she went off to go tell my parents anything. It wasn't until a few hours ago that she came into my bedroom with her threat. She told me that unless I broke up with Evan so she could be with him, then she was going to tell our parents and get me kicked out. My family lives near a decent college and pay my tuition, and I'm fairly dependent on them. I did remind her of Evan's preference for a phallus, but she says that I've just corrupted him with my gayness and that she'll show him the light. We argue so for an hour, and then she tells me I have 2 days to do it or else. I'm not sure what to do. I've spoken with Evan and he said that if my folks kick me out, then I can stay with him, but what about college? I'm thinking maybe I just fake break up with him and we just start sneaking around. But say she catches us again, then she'll definitely tell my folks. What do I do? TLDR, little sister caught me and my BF in the act, and now she's threatening to out me unless I break up with him. Housing and college tuition is on the line. About a week later, OP provided an update post. So my boyfriend and I looked over your replies in my previous post and we read through all of them, talked with some people who had suggestions, and decided the best way was to go to my parents and get serious with them. We would reveal my sister's stalkerish tendencies and do just the smallest amount of gaslighting just to make her story seem less believable. We fabricated some stuff to make it seem like I wasn't even in my boyfriend's bedroom at all. Evan and I got a female friend of ours to pretend to be his girlfriend. We also deleted chats between each other, and I also went to my aunt, who is the family member I'm closest to, who I knew wouldn't spill my secrets. I told her everything and came out to her, which was followed by lots of crying and hugging. My aunt said that she would say I was with her that day, but that she would talk to my sister first to get her to back off. Anyway, my aunt did just that. She spoke to my sister about what she was doing was cruel, but she wouldn't budge. After that, my aunt said she would be my alibi and that she was helping me with a college essay. She's a historian and I'm in a history class, so it made sense. She also said if things go sideways, then I can go stay with her. On the day that was supposed to be my deadline, me and Evan went to speak to my mom and dad and talk to them about all the things my sister had done to my boyfriend. Evan talked about how it was cuter when they were kids, but now she was harassing him over the phone. He saved texts she had sent him and said he had seen her peeking into his window while he was getting intimate with his girlfriend. Before, when I would say stuff to them about her issues, they'd brush me off, but now that Evan was coming to talk to them himself stuff with evidence, they took it much more seriously. I spoke about how her harassment was damaging my friendship with Evan and that she made up a narrative about me and Evan being more than friends and was threatening to out me unless I got Evan to date her. My parents looked at each other, seeming both confused and concerned, but they ignored anything that could have been something about our relationship. My sister was out that day, and when she got home, we had a sort of intervention about her harassment. My parents were saying that what she was doing was not okay and that she could get in major trouble with the law for doing so. Evan was there with his parents and girlfriend, and they spoke about how they didn't approve of her actions. She then tried to out our relationship, but my parents told her to stop lying. She began to throw a tantrum on the floor like a big baby. Everyone left and my parents got her to calm down. They told her that in the new year, she's expected to go see a therapist to get help, which, to be honest, she needs. I do feel bad that she's like this, but she did need to be confronted for her own sake. Me and Evan are now being extra sneaky about our relationship. Christmas wasn't that fun in the house since my sis hates me now. Evan is working to save up for his own apartment, and I just casually mentioned to my folks that he asked me to be his roommate, which they thought was cool. If I do move out, they'd pay for college still while I get a job and pay rent for my place. So overall, my sister's plan didn't work. She's getting therapy. I'm out to my aunt, who provided an alibi when my mom did her own prodding for info later, and I'm going to be living with my boyfriend next year. So hooray all around. It's great that OP seems to have sorted out his problems, but it's definitely a bit odd for someone of his sister's age to be so obsessed with an adult. But I can't help but feel that this sort of situation is just prolonging the inevitable. I feel like eventually OP's parents are going to find out, and when it happens, OP is in for a world of toxic drama. He may potentially even ruin his relationship with his parents. This next post was created in the r/offmychest subreddit. It's titled, I, 20 female, walked in on my boyfriend, 22, cheating on me with a longtime friend. My boyfriend, who I'll call K, and I had been dating for 4 years. After high school, he asked me to move in with him in a different state. I agreed so that we could be together while we attended college. Over the years, we made amazing friends here, and he was just as kind to me as when we first started dating. Cute, awkward text messages, surprise gifts, and flowers at least once every 2 weeks. We had a date night every Thursday after work as well. He also told me he loved at least once a day. Well, last week I got out of work early. I was in a good mood because Kay had sent flowers to my workplace and ordered me Chinese for lunch, which I had mentioned that I had a taste for the night before. On my way home from work, I picked up some of his favorite donuts and went home. When I walked in the door, I could immediately hear the moaning. I walked to our bedroom to see that our friend Ellie was on top of him. My heart dropped. They'd known each other for 10 years, but were never close, or so I thought. They didn't notice me until I dropped the donuts. They quickly covered themselves up, and Kay got up to try and explain the situation to me, but I wasn't hearing any of it. I packed a bag and left to my friend's house. I spent a week at my friend's house wondering if I wasn't satisfying him enough and what I did wrong. Both Kay and Ellie bombarded me with messages trying to explain themselves. Kay told me that it just happened. He said this was the first time and it wasn't planned at all, that I should know this isn't the real him. He explained that she came over and that one thing led to another, and it was a mistake he'd do anything to fix. He sent me pictures of an engagement ring as well. Ellie also messaged me saying she never meant to hurt me and that it wasn't supposed to be this way. I decided to call my friend Ian and explain the situation to him. I asked him if he'd be willing to come with me and help me grab my things while Kay was at work in the morning. I explained the situation to my friends and family, and they all agreed that leaving was the best option. I will be taking all of my things and flying back home. My parents have sent me the money for a ticket, and I'll be moving back in with them for the time being. I don't plan on telling Kay anything. He will just come home to a partially empty apartment. This next post is the first update. As planned, my friend Ian and I went back to the apartment in the morning when I knew Kay wouldn't be there to pack my things. We packed my things into our cars and then went to have them shipped back to my parents' house. I got on my phone to look at the security cameras, and Kay was throwing things around and acting in a way I had never seen before. He called me at least 100 times, but I didn't answer. I decided to take the advice and block him and Ellie. I'll be on my flight to my parents next morning. Sorry, it took so long for an update. A lot of crazy things happened after I got to my parents. As I was getting settled in, it turns out that a mutual friend of ours told Kay what I was doing, and he thought it would be a good idea to come to me in person to beg for forgiveness. To be honest, I almost had a moment of weakness until it became apparent that he didn't come alone. He brought Ellie with him. He said it was because he figured with her also guaranteeing that it wouldn't happen again, I would believe him and return to him. Ellie also decided this was the best time to admit that she was pregnant and that Kay might be the father. Kay said that even if he was the father, he would only be there for the baby, but his heart would only belong to me. I was furious and my heart was broken all over again. This also made it very apparent that it was indeed not the first time. Since Kay wouldn't leave, my younger brother, 18, also came out and started calling Kay and Ellie all sorts of things, and it led to a physical altercation. My little brother punched him in the face, and thankfully Kay took that as a sign to leave. This is all such a huge mess. I don't want to see Kay or Ellie anymore. I don't want to hear the excuses. My heart feels like it's been ripped apart. They can have each other for all I care. If I post more updates, they will likely be on my page for anyone interested. Thank you all for all your kindness and calling me strong even when I don't feel like it. The third update said this: I'm sorry for the late update. I've been going through a wave of different emotions. First, I'll address some simple questions I got. I didn't drop out of college. Thankfully, prior to this whole incident, I was already taking online courses. I do plan to move back, but in my own apartment. As for what happened next between Kay and I, he came back twice to try and apologize and ask me to reconsider. He reminded me about how I said I had never felt this way for someone before and that ending this would be a mistake, that we could work through these problems if I give him a chance. I told him that I don't plan on being a step-parent to his mistress's kid, so even if I dismissed the cheating, which I made clear that I wouldn't, I'd break up with him because of that. He began crying and saying he would talk her into getting an abortion if it meant that I would go back with him. I hate them both, but to be honest, hearing that made me feel disgusted. I told him that we were done and he needed to leave. My dad threatened him the second time if he didn't leave the property. I'm sorry this probably isn't an interesting update, but thank you all for your support. Your comments really helped me stand my ground on this. And the most recent post was created about 1 month ago. Hello everyone, it's been quite a while. Around a year I think. I had to pull away from everything for my own mental health, especially after I made that unsavory drunk post. But I truly appreciate all the encouraging comments you all left for me on my original posts. I thought I would give an update in case anyone here was wondering about what happened after the mess. I'll start off by saying no, I never got back with Kay, and I never will. If any of you remember my friend Ian, the one who helped me pack and get out of that situation, well, we started dating about 5 months after that situation and have been together ever since. He's helped me every step of the way in moving on from what happened, and I'm so grateful to have him. As for Kay, for the first few months, he was doing everything in his power to attempt to contact me, including showing up outside of my workplace. I went to the police, but they told me there was nothing they could do since he didn't do anything yet. I then heard that while he was doing all of this, he was dating Ellie and she didn't know about it. I told her to get her man. I sent her screenshots, then blocked her again. I hadn't heard from either of them since, but a friend told me that she was still pregnant and they had gotten married. Well, they got divorced recently because she cheated on him. Go figure. Anyway, I doubt there will be any future updates. Thank you all for your messages. You don't know how much they help me push forward and move on. Thank you. Unfortunate that OP had to go through that. It's truly baffling that people throw away relationships that took years to build, but I guess it just goes to show what people's true intentions are. It's pretty despicable that Kay tried to gaslight OP into taking him back. Personally, I feel that 99% of the time it is not worth even attempting to reconcile, and it seems that OP is in a healthy relationship now with Ian, which is great.